There we go. Sorry about that. Okay. So, all right, everybody, welcome. Now, job hunting has been a bit of a pain. Let's be really honest. Those of you going through it with me right now totally know what I'm talking about. So, I decided to clear up how I was feeling, bleh, and do something really fun for me, but also hopefully it's a little bit of entertainment and a little bit of evidence. It might showcase a little bit of my personality, and it could show hiring managers why Mindi might be the right decision for them for the next hire for their team. After all, thinking outside of the box is kind of my thing. So, without further ado, let's get started. So, Mindi, welcome to the show. Who exactly is Mindi Vestal? Fabulous question. I'm so glad you asked. So, let's go back for a minute, back to when I was a kid, right? I had a childhood best friend. He was a kiddo with special needs. I didn't know that at the time. I didn't think of myself doing anything different or special for him, so I probably wouldn't have connected the dots even if you laid them out for me. I just played with him, helped him when he was stuck on something and couldn't understand. I included him all the time, but especially when people excluded him. I tried to make sure he knew I was his friend and I was there for him, even when he felt like others weren't. I was just being me. But teachers noticed. They noticed in a really big way. They told my parents time and again, every time that they saw my parents, they would say something along the lines of, your kid's gonna make a great teacher one day. She's gonna be fabulous. She's gonna do great things in education. And every time my parents would tell me, the teacher, she told me that you are going to do fabulous and be a teacher. And I thought, okay, sure. Thanks. No thanks. I truthfully had zero interest, which is kind of funny when you think about it. So wait, I'm looking at your resume and I'm just shocked. You're telling me that all of this wasn't your initial plan? You didn't want to be a teacher? I'm looking at how extensive your resume is and I'm just kind of like, what? Yeah, tell us about it. No, teaching was not my initial plan. I actually went to college to be an organic biochemist. I wanted to engineer alternative fuel sources and medicines. I laugh because it's funny, right? I wanted to make an impact. I wanted to change the world in some way. But, pipettes, equations, the whole lab coat thing, that was my jam. And very soon, I realized, I think it was close to graduation, I actually realized that it might not be my end goal. I took a job working at the YMCA, working with kids. I really stumbled into the role. I saw they needed somebody and I had some availability because I was getting close to finish with my coursework. But upon entering that after school program, it all clicked. I was teaching, I was mentoring, I was advocating. I realized that spark that all those teachers saw me have as a kid, yeah, that was a real thing. Oops. Turns out they were right all along. Oh man, I felt so silly. So you're telling me that moment, that after school program led to 15 years in education? That's a long time, my friend. Very long. It was a while, I'm not gonna lie. 15 years in special education. It was a lot. But I have a PhD in educational leadership and change, a master's degree in curriculum and instruction. I have a post-baccalaureate degree program degree for K-12 cross-categorical special education teaching credential. That is a very fancy way of saying I can teach at any age level and any disability. And then, of course, I have my bachelor's degree, which is in science with a minor in theater because, yeah. So countless students later, what started as an, oops, I guess I'll try this, truly and really turned into my life's foundation. Kind of funny how it all works out in the end. So you pardon me if I'm wrong, but you sound like you love it. So now you're leaving? I guess I'm a little confused and I'm looking for more clarification here because you sound like you're exactly where you need to be. So I wouldn't so much call it leaving. I would say I'm more like pivoting, right? So teaching has taught me a lot professionally. It's taught me things like patience, like persistence, empathy, leadership, how to advocate for people who feel unheard and unseen. At this point, I'm not just good at lesson planning, right? I'm good at fighting for kids, fighting for families, fighting for communities that are often overlooked. And I want to really look forward to doing the same thing, bringing that fire into maybe things like case management, advocacy, nonprofit leadership, those sorts of things. So, I wouldn't say that I'm leaving. I would say that I'm pivoting my skill set, if that makes sense. Mindi, that is super ambitious of you. But in the nicest of ways, why should anybody here watching this video care about you and kind of moving forward in your career? Why does it matter? So if nobody cares, nothing's going to change. So there's a quote from Dr. Seuss says, unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing's going to change. It's not. And I take that truly to heart. And I really am very passionate about what I do. But I've already done it. I've fought for students that others have given up on. I'll keep doing that. I've supported veterans and their families through things like PTSD or service to post-service transitioning. I've built programs. I've told stories. I've created spaces where people feel heard and understood. I do all of this with persistence, with empathy, and maybe just a little bit of sass. Mindi, only a little bit of sass? Okay, Mindi, you're right. Sometimes might be a whole lot of sass. But truthfully, I think that it works with my personality. I show up. I'm all in. All the time. So, Mindi, let's get to the brass tacks, shall we? What exactly is your end game? You mentioned when you were younger, you wanted to be an organic biochemist. You wanted to make an impact. What's the end game now? That's actually a fabulous question, Mindi. So here's the thing. My goal hasn't changed necessarily. Again, it's just pivoted, kind of morphed into something. My goal way back in the day was to make an impact and to change the world. And I still want to do that, but I want to make a bigger impact on a smaller scale level. I want to advocate for people. I want to advocate for victims. I want to advocate for veterans. I want to advocate for people with disabilities and their families. I want to step into leadership roles with nonprofit organizations for causes that I believe in. I want to be in position to put my whole heart into something and work in a way to lift people up. That's where I've been, that's what I've done, and that's what I want to continue doing. That's kind of the end goal, is to still make that impact, just pivoting on how I do it. That's really, really heartfelt, Mindi. Thank you for answering that. So to kind of end this on a bit of a light note, here's a lightning round for you. If you were a superhero, what would your origin story be? That's actually a really great question. I would say I'm just your average nerd who loves things like reading, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, love superheroes and things like that. Just going about my everyday life, and I stumble into teaching and unexpectedly unleash my secret powers of empathy, sarcasm, and persistence. Basically, think about a reluctant teacher that turns into a relentless advocate, kind of like the Incredible Hulk, but without getting mad, of course. That's totally fair. That makes sense. So you said you like superheroes, so what would be your superpower of choice? I would say professionally, I would choose something like cutting through tape, all that red tape with a single slice or a single glance, something like that, to help the people I want to help, right? Or if we're talking real, maybe teleportation, because let's be real, sometimes between weather and the amount of distance we have to travel here in Alaska, thanks, but no thanks, don't want to drive. But yeah, I would say that would be my pick. That was a very good question. I cannot say that I disagree with you because both of those would be awesome. So last question, who would win in a fight? You or you? That's an easy one. Me, the one who never backs down. Provided I'm properly caffeinated. So, here's the deal. Job hunting can be the biggest grind ever. But for those of you going through it like I am, don't lose faith. Get creative. Have some fun with it. For those hiring managers out there, you may not know what you're missing now, not having me on your team, but trust me, the moment that I'm at your table with all my fire, all my grit, and my really big heart, you're going to wonder how you ever ran things without me sitting right there next to you. Thanks so much.